Welcome back. We've got another batch of 10 photos to edit here. So let's come in and see what needs to be done. Probably not a lot. No. So on these, you can tell they're a little bit smoother to begin with. Again, that's in camera. So I actually used the Prism Lens Effects, just the Dream filter on these to add a little bit of softness to it. I'm just going to clean up some of these flyaways while we're in here. So that helps. I don't really need to do as much, skin cleanup. Not that I was doing a lot anyway, but because the filter actually on the camera lends itself to smoothing everything just a little bit, adding a little bit of softness to the overall image. Okay, so we're good with that. Go ahead and save. Move on to the next one. So this is in the mirror. See if there's anything I want to remove. I might actually, let's try this. So I'm going to come in. We can just use that heel layer to begin with because I don't think we're really using it for much else. But let's use the lasso. See if it'll attach to this here. Pretty close. And then I can use the regular lasso tool, add to this just to get this extra little bit. We'll clean it. We'll probably have to clean this up anyway, but that's fine. Okay. And then here also, so what we're going to do is we'll just fill right now to get that selection. And then what I'm going to do here is add that selection. And let's do a content aware fill. See if it'll fill it in for us properly. No, I don't want it to use any of the mirror frames. So see if we can get this blended a little bit better. I think that's a little bit better there. The blending right here. So now we can use this selection and as a mask. Okay, we're going to want to touch that up a little bit more. Let's do this. I'm not happy with that anyway. So we'll get rid of that. And we'll see if we need to add in some more here. So with no mask, we're going to make it so that this completely disappears. And then we'll use a mask to bring that back. So where the pixels are blended slightly from the foreground to the background is the camera focus. That's some of the blend we'll want to fix. But here, okay, we can add in our mask, and now we should have enough there. I want to switch back to soft round. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And we're going to start just getting rid of some of this little bit of distracting background here. That was another part of the studio. You see another background there. So just painting this in. And you can see I've got a low flow. I'm okay with seeing a little bit back there. If it does show up, if you're super close, whatever, if you happen to notice it, I'm mostly trying to get rid of it to just make it a little less distracting over there. go. And then same up here, just a little bit more. And I might, let me add in an exposure here. So this will be something, there we go, rotate. And for this exposure, I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. And then hide everything and then paint it in right over here. So it's not, we're adding in a little bit of almost a color grading, a little bit of a vignette, but I'm going to not only to the background, but also to the frame. And so that'll make it look like that was some of the natural lighting in that. Which, if we look at our mask here, an Alt or Option to do that. So super subtle, just covering a little bit of both to kind of give an idea of, you know, that edit, kind of covering up some of that background edit that we did. Having it apply across, reset our view. There we go. We could even take that another level. So this is obviously the wall here. Let's see what it would look like if we were to just blend that a little bit, so it's not quite as distracting for the edges here. Probably want to switch to my stamp tool at a low flow to break up that line, pretty much is what I'm doing. Since you can't really see anything else in the background, it's all kind of blurred. This is actually a little bit of outside. This is the white studio wall we've shot in front of. Now there's, oops. Okay. These are trees back there a little bit, but we can break that up just a little bit. So it's just not a focal point, not something you even really notice. There we go. So it kind of breaks up a little bit just so it's not so obvious. And okay, good with that. And then the next one here. So this is one that we might want to do some color, remove the color cast. So let's test this. I'm going to duplicate everything. And then on this layer, we'll open up Luminar and see if we can remove that color cast just a little bit. And because it's on a new layer, then we'll be able to use the opacity and masks and such with our edit to fix that color cast. So Luminar open up. See, oh, it opened up on a different screen. So let me pull it over here. Okay, so in here, I remember in an earlier video we were trying to find it and it looks like they put it under color, so it makes sense. Let's remove that color cast a little bit. So before, after, you can see it's bringing some of that brown back. And I'm okay with going, yeah. See, it's removing some of that atmospheric haze, which is what I want. Bringing back some of the color down here. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply that. With this now, because we're doing this on its own layer, like I mentioned, we're going to have a little more control over how much of that haze we want to actually remove and where we want to remove it. So let's once this is done, there we go. Applying that. Let's call this our and then again, we can remove everything and then start to bring some of this back, adding in a little bit of variation to it. So how it was in camera, of course, is with the color cast because we're shooting into the bright light here. But we'll be able to remove some of that in here. And then I'm okay with leaving some of it up here because that's out of focus and it's kind of helps add to the story, I think. That's why I wanted to use the mask to mostly remove it where we're focused. And I do have some, oops, I don't want to paint on the thing, on the mask here. And I do have I was saying prism lens effects on my camera at this time too. So it does add some softness in the camera, in the shot. Before, after. And then there we go. So you can see the difference. It's very subtle, but it is removing some of that color cast there. Mostly here and then saving, this is going through to seeing the color cast. All right. I'm pretty good with that. So let's save this, and there'll probably be more that we need to do a similar process on. Yeah. So same sort of thing. Here we go. Remove the color cast. We can even, if we just do this, it'll do the last filter, which is what we just did with the settings that we had. So we should be able to just run this on that and not even need to worry about Luminar would open and then should just apply that edit and shut it down. So we don't need to manually edit anything. It should do it for us. Let's verify that's what it's going to do here once this opens up. Okay. Okay, so it should have applied that. So, yeah, so you can see it remove that. So off and on. It actually looks like it's adding a little bit more blue in there on this image than not. So if I turn it off, you can see there's a little less in there. So let's actually remove some here, and we'll keep it again in the foreground, but blending this. Yeah. So a subtle edit there. If we were to do it here, and I'm kind of going with the image, as you can tell, but also trying to it's purposely adding in some variation into this mask, right? Because some of this is going to be the color cast, and some of that, this is kind of where she is. There we go. And we can even add even more. Okay, I'm happy with that, just adding that in. And then let's move on to the next image here. This one doesn't have nearly as much in it, but so let's customize this a little bit because the last one seemed to almost add a little bit of color cast to it. So we'll have this, and we can just open up Luminar here. This guy. And Luminar opened up on a different monitor again. So let me pull it over. And into edit. Into our color. So before, after. Yeah, see, it's actually adding in a little bit more blue in some of these. So we'll do very minimal here. Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think there'd really be anything else in here that I would add. So I'll just go ahead and hit apply for that. And then we'll do something similar with the mask on there. Again, just some subtle edits. And honestly, a lot of these, if you're following along and you want to do something different, by all means, do something different. I'm just doing it based on the adding some creative license to some of these. So let's just to change things up just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Before and after, hit save. And the next one, let's see, what's the next one here? Okay, this has even more. Let's see what Luminar does on this one. If it'll actually remove some of that color cast or if it's going to start adding into it. This one has more in it naturally, so hopefully it would remove more. Take us back to some of those browns, but if not, there are some other things we could do too on top of this if we wanted to. We'll see how it looks. Come into color. So if we remove the color cast, yeah, see, it's almost adding in a little bit of haze to it. So let's HSL. Let's see. Use saturation and luminosity, basically. So we've got our blues. That's what a lot of that is. Wonder if we were to shift this. There we go. Let's actually, I'm going to reset that. Let's, we'll just go ahead and cancel. We'll cancel out of Luminar. I don't need that because we can do this in Photoshop and we'll be able to do it with a mask, which will help a little bit better. So what I'm wanting to do is on this here. No, I don't want to do an overlay, soft light. So I do have, I'm going to do an overlay. And then remove it all and then paint some of that back here. So you can see I'm painting back some of the kind of brownish because I had it colorized. It's still getting in some of that hue, but painting some of that back. Let's bring it down a little bit more. So very subtle. So before, after, adding a little bit more contrast. Really trying to get her face to kind of pop out a little bit more. Which I think, as you can see, it's doing there. Okay, go ahead and oops, hit the wrong button there. Hit Control E to erase or get rid of it instead of Control W to close this tab and have Photoshop save that. So same thing. Actually, let's just, since we did this in Photoshop, let's take this and we've got that now. Pull it over and then we can start to paint this in. Benefit of doing it in Photoshop is on an adjustment layer is we can just copy that layer over to the new image. So it is in the mirror still, right? So I'm still trying to get some of that. Let's switch this a little bit. Trying to get some of that almost reflective shine that you might expect from a mirror. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's see if we need that on the last one. Nope. Okay, we don't need this. Shot from a different angle into the mirror. So we don't really need that same hue sats. And in this one here, let's do similar to what we did before. We will this here and this side over here. Content aware fill probably isn't going to get that very well, but let's see, because there's really just not that much of the wall, because that's what we want is the wall, and it's going to try to take from, yeah, see, it's going to try to take from everything else. But we really want it just to be in the wall, not any of her. And that's going to take from the frame, which we don't want. We just want the wall. So there's not much to sample from. We might be able to add in some of this area if that helps it. We'll see. Let me add this, make it a little bit bigger. Pull from some of this over here too. All right, let's see what this looks like in the preview. We might actually be able to make that work. Yeah, we might be able to make that work. Okay, we'll add that. And then basically hide it all, and then we'll paint back just the part that we want, which is up above here. So I'm gonna up my flow a little bit. Again, I'm okay with showing some of this to be like, obviously there's stuff behind the mirror, but just trying to make it a little less distracting from the stuff back there, which, you know, again, was another part of the studio. And not that the background ends right here. So just trying not to make it look like the background ends so abruptly, which it did, but go paint this in. And then we can blend that. We'll blend this with a new heel and blend right here. Remove some of this. There we go. Oh, still using the, I want to use the heel tool. There we go. Generate some new pixels to blend there. And here. And I think that will be good. So stamp and heal that. Okay. So we'll reset our view. And yeah, so with this, now what I'm going to do is take all of this, and we'll be okay with seeing a little bit back there, but all right, so actually it brings some of this back and I don't like that. So let's do this. We'll hide this a little bit more, and then we can use that new one to blend the new layer to blend this again right here. So you can see there's something back there, but this just kind of blends off, and it's not really as much of a focus as that. Not sure I'm happy with that. What if we were to just... What if we were to go the other way and just try... It's really this line that I don't like. What if we were to just remove that? That might look better. Acknowledge that there's stuff back there and just remove the little bit of background from up here. So we'll paint this back out. And we'll probably need to do some masking after this, but get the basic part here. Keeps wanting to add in the frame. Okay. So we'll get rid of it and then paint some of this out. Where's this? Did we move it down by accident? Maybe. Let's get rid of this and see what... Yeah, it looks like we moved it by accident. Okay. Well, we'll fix this area. Might have been, as these files are... We still have files saving in the background, you can see up here, and as one of those finishes, it kind of... You probably notice it shifts the mouse and or the cursor position, everything. Sometimes I accidentally move things. When that happens, that's okay. Always ways to work around things like this here. We'll paint this in now. There we go. So it goes right to the top. And hide this. Here we go. Much, much better. Yeah, I like that better. You've got that. I mean, we could, that might be a little bit there to get rid of. Switch right here. There we go. So yeah, I like that better actually. So we just want to route it the wrong way at first. That's fine. Okay. We will save this, and that is the last batch for this. So this one took a little bit longer than some of the others, but I just went through the entire batch, and then I'll go ahead and wait for these 4 documents to save, open up the next batch, and we'll continue editing. So I'll see you in the next video.